We are in part 2 of INOUE's masterclass over Fulton, and last time we were talking about level change feints a lot. We're still going to look at some of those because those are very important because they set up the jab to the body, which was shutting down a lot of what Fulton was trying to accomplish. And it was also the setup for the KO. But on top of that, at the end, I said, let's also talk about Fulton. What you got to think about is when you have somebody who's known for their accuracy, known for getting their way, controlling the fight. When you have somebody like Fulton whose jab is his greatest weapon and he's missing his jab constantly, now he's in an uncomfortable situation. He's in uncharted territory where he has to deal with things he's never really dealt with before. And so of course you're going to see somebody be brought out of character. So we're going to begin to see some of that, and then we're going to get straight into it. Let's go. The level change feint often precedes real attacks because it accomplishes two primary things in this fight. For INOUE, it disguises the real thing, which is obvious, and then the second thing is that INOUE is using it to gauge reactions and to see if it has a probability to land. Two subtle moves right there. So after the feints, he starts moving his head and closing the distance, but he's taking small inching steps. So he's controlling the distance by making it seem like he's advancing far more than he really is. So when Fulton throws out that jab, he's actually out of range, even though he thought he was in range. And then you'll see the same thing here, inching steps, just barely getting close. And it seems like he's closer than he is, so he gets Fulton to overextend, and then that's where he can start countering him. And then you got Fulton throwing out a probe. That's not a real jab, that's more of a, it probably accomplishes a few different things, threatening the entry, making INOUE hesitate, but then also measuring the distance. And so when he throws that out, INOUE is also shutting that down. So everything Fulton is starting to do, INOUE is starting to shut down. So after INOUE lands that jab, he tries another. Fulton pulls away to his left, and INOUE notices that. And so the next time he feints that lead hand to get him to pull to that side again, but that pulls him directly into the path of a right cross that comes over top. Here we have INOUE stepping forward in a certain rhythm. As he's stepping forward, the steps disguise the real attack, the step in jab, but Fulton does a good job pulling back, but he tries to counter INOUE's advance. So right now Fulton's goal is to counter INOUE coming in so that INOUE can slow down the pace and Fulton can start doing his work. But INOUE expects that and does a counter over the counter, and Fulton escapes again. Great defense. Here he's gonna throw that jab to the body, but he's gonna try and follow up with the cross, and it does land, which is important because that's the shot that knocks him out. But he came behind it with another jab, so Fulton was already pulling away, so there wasn't much power on it. One of the major reasons INOUE is out jabbing Fulton the way he is because of timing and controlling who's coming forward versus who's moving backwards. So Fulton is going to try and jab INOUE while he's already moving backwards, and so he has the distance control to stay outside of the range. Whereas when INOUE jabs Fulton, Fulton is inching forward, and so he can't pull back in time because his weight is stuck on the front foot. Another issue for Fulton is the speed of INOUE to close the distance, all while being balanced and throwing shots. Fulton is known for laterally moving, escaping, having great legs, great jab, everything that he uses to keep the range and control the fight. When you have somebody that's just as explosive, probably more, with INOUE, somebody who's going to move forward super fast while throwing shots, that gives Fulton a lot of difficulty. He gets cornered like how he was right there. So INOUE gets a small little reaction from Fulton off that little feint, just moving his lead hand a little bit. And then what he's going to do, he's going to put that lead hand out like it's a jab up top. Fulton's guard goes up, he goes down. The speed of this exchange is crazy. All in the span of about a second, 3 shots was thrown, one from Fulton, 2 from INOUE. So the jab to the body, Fulton does a good job of absorbing the jab and then looking to throw the cross over top that actually lands. But INOUE is fast enough to throw a jab to the body and follow up with a 3 over top that lands on Fulton. Now here's one of the extra tools he brings out. He stops, he plants, he puts up a high guard. When he puts up that high guard, it baits out a jab from Fulton, which he completely expects and tries to counter over top. Fulton barely pulls back and his shoulder catches that shot. So INOUE is going to do the same thing he's been doing. Step back, get Fulton to follow. When he follows, stab to the body. But again, he's looking for that cross now. So that shot that he ends the fight with, he was looking for in round 2, he's looking for it in round 3. You often see that those shots are developing almost the entire fight. INOUE set that trap with the high guard bait. He sees it coming, tries to counter and step in, but Fulton has great reflexes again. Fulton's defense in this fight was actually underrated, as you can see by many of the examples I've been showing. Even if you're avoiding the shots, the threat and danger of shots constantly coming back, that's what makes a counterpuncher win a decision, is because those counters slow down the offense of the other person, because now they're worried about getting caught while they're punching. So Fulton has rarely had to, only like one other time has had to deal with somebody who's counterpunching him more successfully than he's counterpunching them. If you like the video, like it. If you want to see more, subscribe. We're gonna look at some Muay Thai pretty soon, and we're gonna look at an old school fighter pretty soon, and then we're gonna probably break down some boxing happening tonight as well, and then we'll finish off this series as well, and then move on to some other stuff. Immortality Serum out.